My name is Carson Cruise. As Callie said, I'm a pediatric dentist here in Florence. My wife Laura and I have been coming to Trinity for about 3 years now. And I'm probably best known here at Trinity, if you'll think back to the summer 9:30 services. I've got the two blonde-headed boys in kind of that back corner there who loudly ask for snacks and make baby dinosaur sounds for the second half of the service. This is a particularly interesting thing for me to talk about because I'm actually quite bad at asking people for money, which is essentially what I'm about to do. To the point where at my office, when someone asks me how much something costs, my default answer is, I don't know, but there's a whole team of ladies up front who can talk about that with you. Otherwise, I just end up doing it for free, and that's, according to my wife/office manager, not a good way to run a business. But in the interest of something that is very near and dear to my heart, I have decided that I'm going to power through and give this talk. And that is our children's ministry. But before we talk about that, I'm going to start with a quote from our very own Callie Plunkett-Bruton. And this specific quote comes from our text messages probably about 3 months ago. Quote, "I want to ask you if you would be willing to serve on our stewardship committee this year. It won't involve speaking to the congregation or making phone calls to people about pledging." End quote. Now, in fairness to Callie, she did not actually ask me to give this stewardship pep talk. She did, however, ask for a volunteer to speak about our children's ministry at a table of people where I was very much the only parent with young children that are currently involved in said children's ministry. So after a bit of an awkward silence, I volunteered. I'm not sure if they teach these sort of psychological tactics at seminary or if this was just sort of in-the-field training from raising 3 kids, but she managed to get me, an extreme introvert, to volunteer for public speaking. Well played, Callie. Well played. But no, this is where I draw the line. I will not be making any cold calls about pledging. So now that I've gotten my digs out of the way, let's talk about the Episcopal Church for just a minute. Episcopal churches have a bit of a reputation for being largely filled with well-to-do older people. And historically, the hard truth is that stereotype is not without merit. Having said that, Trinity has done a fantastic job of breaking this stigma in recent years. As a matter of fact, at our recent parish retreat, more than half of our attendees were children and youth. Special shout out to Kyle and Lindsay Black for really doing their part to stack those numbers for us. For those of you who don't know, they have 4 kids, which was basically double the amount of anyone else there. Without the constant influx of children and youth, our churches can wither. And you don't have to look far to see parishes and congregations that have failed to build strong programs for attracting children and youth that are now paying the price of stagnation and atrophy. If we want our church to grow, there is no better investment than our children and our youth. When we invest in our children's ministry, we're not just giving them a safe place to learn about the love of Christ, we're also investing in the future of our parish. Through Sunday school, EYC, summer series, we instill values like love and kindness, values that take root in their hearts and draw them back to the well of Christ's love. It is an exciting time for these programs at Trinity. Under Lindsay Black's leadership, our children's programs have flourished. I can personally vouch for the effectiveness of her efforts. My oldest son asks me multiple times per week if we're going to church today, followed by a loud, ugh, if it's not a Wednesday or a Sunday when I tell him, no, we're not going to church today. And my youngest will Spider-Man crawl across several rows of pews back there to get to her during the Eucharist service. Frankly, I'm not sure that he doesn't actually like her more than he likes me at this point. Our youth program, as Callie mentioned this morning, is also entering an exciting period of growth as we welcome Tammy Spake to spearhead our joint venture with First Pres. And I am confident that Callie's efforts to launch this program and recruit a full-time minister for this population will bear terrific fruit as well. And if you spend any amount of time around teenagers, or frankly, you just think back to your own time as a teenager, you know that most of them need all the Jesus that they can get at this critical stage of life. So as we reflect on our giving during this season of stewardship, I invite each of you to consider how you can support our children and youth ministries and outreach, whether it's volunteering your time, sharing your talents, or making a financial commitment. Remember that every little bit helps. And if you're not sure where to start, just consider this. The next time you see a child with a hopeful look in their eyes, just know, especially if it's one of mine, that they're probably just hoping for a snack. But they are also hoping for your support in growing their faith and their understanding of service. Let's show them that being part of this church family means more than just showing up. It means being generous, loving, and having dedication to something greater than yourself. And if you're looking for a place to start, we have our upcoming Halloween carnival, and we need participants for the chili cook-off and for the trunk or treat. So these are small things that you can do that would be very much appreciated in helping facilitate that program. So let's embrace stewardship with open hearts and generous spirits, and yes, open wallets. Together, we're not just investing in our children, we're investing in a future filled with joy, laughter, and a whole lot of love. Thank you for your commitment to stewardship and for believing in the power of our children's ministries and outreach. Together, we're creating a legacy that will keep on giving for generations to come.
Thank you, Carson. I know that kind of psychological manipulation just comes